What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mr. Straight Facts Show. I am Mr. Straight Facts. Let's get right to it. So today, Walmart came out, and that would be the CEO, and let everybody know that not taxes, prices that are there are going to go up. Now, a lot of people throughout the media, mainstream media, have been asking the questions to economists, to business people since it came out today. What does that mean? Why is everybody focused so much on Walmart? And I know they're asking these questions because they think it's the questions that Americans want to know, and that's a good thing because I know they have to know why does it matter that Walmart prices are going up. Hey, Len, how you doing? So, um, let's get to the first thing is what the CEO said. The CEO of Walmart is Doug McMillan. I'm a million. Let's get what he had to say. His statement today, and I quote, given the magnitude of the tariffs, even at the reduced levels, which is 30%, remember, well, it's 30% for uh, uh, China, but most people don't realize that Walmart gets most of its products, somewhere of 80 to 90%, somewhere on there, percentile is from China. So a lot of their stuff is about to go up. It says even at the reduced levels announced this week, we aren't able to absorb all the pressure given the reality of narrow retail margins. Now, Walmart wants you to believe that they don't mark up their products that much. I beg to differ. I'm pretty sure on some products they don't, but on others they do. They kind of level it off. I'm sure there are some products that they charge 400% more. On some products they may charge, just 20% more. Regardless, uh, the blanket statement he's saying is that the prices are going up. We all knew this if we were of sound mind, right? Anybody who nobody believed that the prices were going to go down when you put on tariffs if you understand what a tariff is. It amazes me at the level of intellect. Not just, I can understand a high school student, maybe even a college student, early college student, but I can understand a grown man or woman working in the world not understanding after being told now. You don't have to be in business to understand tariffs are taxes on the people, not on the businesses. The business itself, let's say the country like China, sends it over here. Those tariffs are put on, which means the actual buyer on this end, if Walmart buys its own thing, which I'm sure it does because it has its own system, Walmart buys it with the 30% or the 145% tacked onto it, right? And trust me, even if Walmart didn't buy anything at that 145% range, trust me, they're going to try and put some of that on. Well, our first shipment was 145. We're going to have to charge you 145%. Yes, they will try that. Trust, believe. Some things they're going to mark up 145%. They didn't say this, but those products that they had to pay 145% for, yeah, you're going to eat that. You're going to eat that. But anybody knowing that after you realize, like, dude, if I'm gonna buy a product from somewhere and they're gonna put a 145 or 30% on it, and I gotta buy it for 30% more, you think I'm gonna go sell it to you for the same price, which is 30% less than what I paid for it? That don't even make no sense. And the idea that it goes into the brain of a grown human being, MAGA, and they can't compute. It's gonna be cheaper. How? How? The party of greed, you're going to tell me they're going to come out and say, hey, they're trying to take people's Medicare. People who are riding around in wheelchairs can't get a job. They want them to qualify for jobs possibly just to be able to get their own insurance. And if they get knocked off of their insurance, they can't get any other insurance. Crazy, huh? Knock you off of Medicaid, Medicare. They knock you off of it. Say, no, you don't qualify. I don't know what the time period is, but you can't even go get your own insurance. You got to do without. That shit don't make any sense. But that's what Republicans are trying to pass. This man just told you that the margins are too narrow as they are, and we're just going to have to raise them up 30%, the 10% for some, the 25% for others. We're just going to have to do that. Sorry, it's just going to have to happen. Nobody's that stupid. We knew that they were going to raise these prices up, and he came out and said it today. Like I said, in the mainstream media, they were asking all these, pundits and executives and things of that nature, like, what does this mean? What does it mean about everything else? You got to understand something. If you know anything about business, and some people may not, I don't have a problem with people not knowing anything about business in this way. There are businesses that give the best prices, right? Walmart is one of those. You've known for as long as you've probably known Walmart and gone to Walmart. If you are, let's say for me, I'm a tech guru. I do a lot of tech stuff, engineer when I was younger and stuff like that. Still do it. Build computers and all that. Write code. So I used to go to Walmart back in the day when they had like Circus City and all everything like that. And you would see the pricing in certain products. I don't care what it is, whether it be a TV, whether it be a computer, whether it be a printer or whatever. And you would go to, let's say, a Staples, and then you'll go to another store and you kind of price match, Office Max, Office Depot. And then you get all those prices together, and then you would go to Walmart. And you go to Walmart. Walmart would have almost near the same price. There's like $199, $199.99, 100 something else. And then you go, to Walmart, $194.99. $5 difference or something like that. Or I mean, it could be 50 cents difference. You're like, I want it from here. That's because Walmart bought so many of them more for all their stores that these 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 stores, or maybe they have 100 stores, can't compete with Walmart's thousands of stores, right? So Walmart got it cheaper. So what does this mean when it comes to the fact of Walmart's already talking about raising its prices? Well, Walmart sells less than anybody else. So if the company that gets the price at a better price than everybody else is going up, it literally means this is going to be a trickle down effect. Everybody's going to get it. Everybody. Now, you ask yourself, well, there's things made in America. True. And if I was you, I would make sure that you go to the stores as of now for things you normally buy, learn what is made here and what isn't here to save the pocket for your family, and then go out and buy the things that are made here. Now, I suggest you do that now, compare it to the prices of what that product will be, because I only tell you to do that because I want you to justify the increase in price. Because I promise you, if they make the toilet paper here, right? And there are many toilet paper companies that are made in Cambodia, made in China, made in other places. Those are going to go up in price, right? Which you would think, seeing as how American made doesn't have to go up in price, and you'll end up buying all the American made stuff. The American people, businesses, are snakes. They are going to raise that price just like the rest of them. They're not going to keep it at that lower price. So go find out what you buy normally, toothpaste, all the different things you do, what you buy normally, and see what the price of it is. And then after these Walmart raises prices on things, go back and say, wait a minute, you're American made. Why the hell are you the same? You have the same 30% on it when you didn't have to get that at all from China, from no other country. It was made here. Check them, because these billionaires are going to rob every last one of us. And you need to do your homework, your due diligence to find out what's here and what you buy normally from here, and what those prices are now. And then once it gets implemented on something from China or other places with the 30%, check and see if the prices that you have are the same or close. If they're near that 30%, yeah, that's gouging you. That way you'll know which companies are loyal to you as an American citizen or they're loyal to the dollar. And it's going to be a sad situation how many people you find, how many companies you find that are loyal to the dollar. So keep an eye on that. That just happened today. The other thing that happened today, if you guys have seen it, I was in and out seeing pieces of it. That was the Supreme Court. I listened in on some of that, and it's basically the Trump administration, with their lawyer, are trying to strip away the birthright citizenship. It's been a law of the land for over 150 something years, 57, I believe. Been the law of the land, and now they're trying to strip it or determine whenever they feel like it, to not have to give it to some people and then they give it to others when they feel like it. This was a part of Project 2025. You got to ask yourself something. What are they doing? See, on the surface, they're talking about immigrants. See, what Donald Trump has done and his minions have done strategically is get you to think about immigrants. And as sad as it may be, it is true across the board. Not everybody, but just about every race has a dislike on some level to the immigrants. Not necessarily because of their race, because his people have successfully put into the minds that they're stealing jobs as one level, that they're coming in illegally, that they're illegal when they're not. Undocumented is not illegal, so they've made them criminals. That's another. They're rapists, they're killers. So there's multiple tiers in which they've been trying to destroy these cultures. And they don't care which one works. It's the spaghetti on the wall, whichever one sticks. And the sad part about it is, for some races, the job sticks. Some black, some Latin, that job part sticks because they've been trying to get by, and like, man, I'm working 5 jobs and I'm barely. No, we don't need them here. So they got that type of dislike for them. You got the ones who just don't like them because of their race or whatever it may be. Some don't like them because of their class level. What Donald Trump has successfully done is throw a stigma on immigrants of color. And no matter which one you stick with, or people have stuck with in the past, or somebody in your family has stuck with, one of them has certain people thinking, uh-oh, don't want this. We're going to dig deeper as to why these things are real and what they're doing with that, being able to get you to stigmatize them in different ways. It's because it's an attack just on the immigrant, but what it's trying to protect is white privilege. Even though you're black and you're talking about, let's say, them having jobs and stuff like that, or you're Latin and you're saying, get in line because you're getting in front of me, or whatever it may be. They have successfully threw out a bunch of things so that each culture has a dislike for some reason. And I'm not saying all the people, they can just get a few and start saying and spewing this, and now you got division. The one thing they can only live by. If we are united, all this shit dies. Division is the only reason that it lives and grows, right? It metastasizes. So what do we have to do? All right. So, well, before we even get into what we have to do, we have to kind of like decipher what's going on. All right. So now what we're going to do is listen to Justice Sotomayor. She brought up a very poignant statement in court today that I wanted to address. And after that, we're going to go into exactly what it means in the depth of it. And something that I brought up before Donald Trump was president, and I was out here, Mr. Straight Facts, straight F your feelings, all stuff like that. For over a year, I was telling people about Project 2025, things they were trying to do. I'm going to tie it because what we're doing, what we're seeing here is a Trojan horse. It's not what they're talking about. Everything that we're seeing and hearing is not the actual source of what they're trying to do. It is only the front part. You don't see the back end. So we're going to go over that in a second. But let's go to what Justice Sotomayor had to say.
So when a new president orders that, because there's so much gun violence going on in the country, and he comes in and he says, I have the right to take away the guns from everyone, then people, and he sends out the military to seize everyone's guns. We and the courts have to sit back and wait until every named plaintiff gets, or every plaintiff whose gun is taken comes into court.
Okay. What she did was juxtapose what they were trying to say by putting in what's so visceral, what normally gets a visceral reaction from MAGA, Second Amendment. You're not coming for my guns, Republicans and all that, which it was never a case, but that's something that sticks in their head, hopefully to reach them. So what they're saying is that Donald Trump is arguing, his people are arguing that they can, bypass the birthright situation, right? Automatically kick you out or do whatever they're going to do to you. And then you have the right to come to Supreme Court and argue each case if you want to. And the thing is that they were telling them nobody is going to lose if they come in and do exactly what I was born here, blah, blah, blah. They're going to reinstate them. They're automatically you're going to lose, is what she's telling this lawyer. Every case you're going to lose. But here's the catch. You're trying to build a catch me if you can situation, which means Donald Trump and his people just want to automatically break the Constitution and fuck people over. But it's up to you to mount up a team to fight for your freedoms again, for your American citizenship. So that's their argument. Take your rights away. You can always fight for them back, but if you don't have the money, you're just fucked. Justice Sotomayor said, you're going to lose every time on that. But here's the thing. They know most of these people they're doing this to are poor. They can't afford lawyers, so they're going to stay out. Not because we forced you out. You just couldn't mount up a team to win. Because, it's a winnable case. You just can't afford to do it. So you're going to waste our time and taxpayer dollars to do unlawful things to people so they can go and fight to get their rights back, which you should have never trampled on because of the Constitution. This shit doesn't make any sense, right? Exactly. But what you'll learn is that what they're doing is a part of Project 2025. I told you guys before about other amendments where they was coming after. I told white women and women in general, but specifically white women because of the 19th amendment for women to vote. And, I said they're coming after your right to vote because they had people speaking at Charlie Kirk's event and a bunch of other right-wing events. Yes, I go watch them. I can't stand watching them. Trust me, my stomach turns. I take a nap every once in a while because it's just some boring shit. But they are crazy. And they have people putting money behind this crazy. And because we're on cruise control and they over there, with the money to buy, jets and all kinds of shit, they're putting money toward this. While we're just sitting here, they're building. This strategy of what Project 2025 would never take a hold if good people, good Americans, were always working to stop and thwart the racist people. We just let them collectively do their thing. And because of that, they've grown. In order to stop it, good people have to organize and every day wake up so that good people can have lives and good people don't have to worry about those negative people. See, their kryptonite is us coming together and unifying and putting millions upon millions of dollars, each one of us putting in whatever amount, whatever we can afford, but amassing to millions and millions of dollars to defeat them in anything that they try. But no, we rely on certain leaders and certain other people. They don't do it. These people have organizations where hundreds of thousands of dollars are being put into their coffers a day, think tanks and all the like, to consistently try and put a foot on the neck of democracy, because they're afraid of something. They're afraid of being a minority. They're afraid that everybody's going to treat them like they treat everybody else. So they wake up every day with hate and malice in their heart, thinking of, how can I fuck over women? How can I fuck over the gay people? How can I fuck over black people? How can I fuck over Latin people? How can I make it so that they always stay in the minority? Oh, I got to unalive some? Okay, that's what we got to do. They're constantly thinking, why on earth are they growing and we are going down? How can I fix that? The rest of us is like living our lives, chilling, not thinking of none of that crazy stuff. But we always having to fight it. They amass an attack and we got to fight it. Instead, we should be working on it consistently, not on cruise control, but constantly working on it. But I want you guys to pull back a little bit. What Justice Sotomayor was talking about is about birthright citizenship, and that people, and they were talking throughout the day about citizenship, where people are going to have to prove their citizenship, but have to go to court, not just a regular court. You got to go to the Supreme Court. Do you understand how many courts you got to go to get the Supreme Court before they pick it up? And they're not going to pick up all of them. Supreme Court only takes up a small percentage of the cases that are put at them. So think about hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people being thrown out of the country and got to go to the Supreme Court. They'll be booked to go to Supreme Court in 2092. And that's what they want. But see, like I said earlier, they got black people, not all of us, of course. They got black, they got Latin, they got Asian, they got, of course, white, that have a disdain for immigrants for one reason or another. Long as one of them sticks, they don't care which one it is. The strategy is to divide, right? But the reality is we have to unite. Because if we divide, we give them what they want. And what they want is not what you think they want. You got to think about it, ladies and gentlemen. You got to think about it. When you look at what they're talking about when they're saying that these brown people coming over America, coming over to America, I want you to do me a favor and look at those Venezuelan men that they took. Just look at them facially, just body. Look at them, okay? What you're looking at are Latin men that could pass for white. I'm gonna get there for a second for you. They could pass for white. I guarantee you a majority of those men, if they are citizens of this country, on their census checked white. I guarantee you. Because America bolsters its numbers by allowing Latin people who so choose to claim white. So they've demonized these Latin people, but they're taking the light-skinned ones, not the dark-skinned ones. They're like, that's a message, right? Because the numbers are growing. They don't care whether you claiming white, black, or whatever. Latin, don't care. So what is this strategy they're building up? Is that you don't care about the fact that they could be claiming white anymore. That part is starting to go away. That's what Latin people who came over here and had hate for their own dark-skinned people, they had this like bravado, like they ain't gonna get me, they gonna get darky. And then what did they do? They picked a whole ton of light-skinned Latin people who would claim white and treated them like they were enslaved human beings. And now they're coming for their rights to be citizens. So if I get you out of here, I can do that. But also you got to understand who in this country, if you know history, continue to live in said country, but wasn't an American citizen. Let me rephrase that or say it again. What group of people in America that came to America not through immigration, but came to America as indentured servants, but then became something that was less than a citizen, almost less than a human, and wasn't considered an American citizen? That would be African people. See, they haven't clarified what they're going to do with this birthright citizenship thing. They got the people, black, white, Latin, Asian, all concerned about criminals who are in a gang who happen to be Venezuelan. Muslims who support, Palestine, and therefore they're against Israel, and they're like anti, Israel, or whatever, right? So they've gotten all these people who go against whiteness and what is close to Israeli. Now here's the thing. Jewish people, I want you to understand something. You may feel like you are closer to being white, but you are next. They weren't going around saying, Asians will not replace us. Asians will not replace us, did they? They weren't even going around saying, Latin people won't replace us. You're next. So this affiliation with whiteness, don't get used to it anymore. Because those Latin men you saw, they had an affiliation with whiteness. They don't have it anymore. It ain't got shit to do with criminals, because those people, over 75% of them have never committed a crime. They just said they have. There's only 12% of them that have created any crime, and that's from shoplifting to just like car theft, never a crime of unaliving somebody that would have somebody kicked out of the country. The other percentage of people, like 22%, they have no clue whether these people have a crime, have done a crime or not, which means they don't know these individuals fully. Like, is this their real name? So 22% of them don't really have any record that they know of. So how you snatching people that they can't even figure out whether that person was a criminal or not? 22% of them in limbo, but somehow Donald Trump and them know that these people are criminals. Don't get used to this closeness to whiteness shit. Because, that's going away. That's going away. And I want to remind my Irish brothers and sisters, if you dig back deeper in history, you weren't considered white. You were considered just as much the same as a black person, an African person back in the day. They didn't like you. Let's put it this way, my Irish brothers and sisters. Back in the day, before they created this term white, they liked Africans more than they liked you. They didn't find you worthy of anything. They thought you as drunks, uncouth, always fighting. They didn't like you. They thought of black people as more civilized because they were taught so much by the African. It switched when they wanted to get power. And of course, the division was amongst the strongest of us. They saw the African as the strongest out of all the people who were here because of the way they presented themselves. And so they had to separate themselves from the strongest and make the strongest the weakest by amounting numbers of people who look like what? What do we look like? What do we all look like? Oh, we're all white. Let's put everybody in these groups of white and we'll be against the African, the black person. That way we can take them over and make them enslaved people. These are the ideologies that were used to make that happen. Now, I want you to understand we're going to look at this next thing of what they're doing and what they're arguing right about. It says birthright citizenship. But what's behind that? Let's look. Behind that is the 14th Amendment. Section 1 reads about the birthright. And I quote, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. So you're a citizen of the entire United States and within the state that you reside, in which I live in California, and you can plug in your state. Okay? Now, how many of you know that the 14th Amendment was not written for immigrants? I'll wait. How many of you know that? The 14th Amendment was not written for immigrants. The 14th Amendment was written for the enslaved. That's something that most people does not know. Now, what people think about often is when they talk about the 13th Amendment. See, a lot of us just talk about the 13th Amendment because that's what we're focused on when we talk about they're going to end. That's when we ended slavery, 13th Amendment, right? Exactly. So dealing with the 13th Amendment, these people are trying to get you to think about the 14th Amendment. See, automatically, I don't know about everybody, but automatically black people know. If you said the 13th Amendment, we uproar. What the fuck? What? You don't know what's going on. But they don't even mention the 14th Amendment. They just say the birthright. But when you pull back and see that they're talking about the 14th Amendment, black folks, you need to be worried. Very, very worried. Because like I said before, I mentioned that this is a Trojan horse. Now, if you don't know what a Trojan horse is, I'm going to explain it for those who don't know. Just a little simple aspect of it. Let's say, and this is what happened in history, as you were gifted something, an actual huge like Trojan horse, like a horse. Like, wow, it's great, it's wonderful. But inside this huge gift were military men ready to unalive everybody in said village. And so here is my gift to you. Open up the gate, which they wouldn't have opened the door up to these people. But they got a gift. They were enamored by the gift. The gift walks in, closes said gate. Back in the day, you couldn't open a gate like a garage door. That shit took some time to open. So you wasn't about to escape once you closed that door. Closed it and boom, took everybody out, took over the land. It's theirs now, right? Because these people weren't ready for war. They were ready to open it and see fruit and shit inside, right? So that's what a Trojan horse is an example of. This talking about immigrants, Latin immigrants, they spent so much time because they knew they couldn't talk about this with black folk because this country would go up in flames talking about we're trying to take away black folks' rights. What the fuck? We would never do that. We would never do that because we don't been through that. They knew they couldn't just go after black folks, right? So they demonized immigrants, and everything they're trying to take away is everything that made us free. See, these white nationalists, they didn't care about these Venezuelan men. They were claiming white. That was bolstering their numbers, right? They were going to fall on the side of mostly what white people say anyway. The Republicans, more than likely. But that's not the point. The point is we're using these people to get to black people. I told you, if you listen to, you've been around for a minute. I told you with Project 2025, even um, one of the justices, the black justice, can't remember the top of my head right now. He was talking about, he's married to a white woman, Clarence Thomas. He's married to a white woman. He wanted to bring up the Loving case again to look it over. I'm like, you're married to a white woman. Why would you want to get rid of it? He even brought up the 13th Amendment. Why would a black man want to give up a 13th Amendment? I guess he's close to death. He wanted everybody to go back to slavery. I have no clue. Let's revisit it. For what? For what? Back then, I said, yo, this is before they, right after, maybe soon after they got rid of Roe versus Wade, overturned it. I said, they're coming after women. They're coming after black people. They're going to come after Jewish people. They're coming after all of us because they have got a bug up there, you know what, fearing people because they always think everybody wants to be like them, wants to colonize them. The colonizing gift or curse is inside of them, not us. But that's what they're trying to do. So when you look into this, you'll start to understand that the 13th Amendment, right? 13th Amendment is what freed us. That's what freed the black people in this country. It ratified, when it ratified, it abolished slavery in the United States, except for punishment for crime. Everybody knows this, right? Now, what did the 14th Amendment do? The one that they're messing with. Now, that was ratified in 1868. The 14th Amendment made ex-slaves citizens. Real citizens, not property, not partial persons, counted as 3/5. It also promised equal protection under the law and due process to every person born or naturalized in the United States. See, they're trying to reverse this. If they can take away your birthright, that's the thing they're trying to take away. Take away your birthright, then everything else falls apart from the 14th Amendment. Because if you take away your birthright, then that means you don't have right to due process. That means you don't have rights to equal protections under the law. And black people and all people who are of color or in their situation whom they deem to be an immigrant who came here, even though you may be white, whatever, you may be from a culture they don't like. And once they can break that down, they can take away your citizenship. And on top of that, you can be treated or exiled out of the country. You have zero rights. And not only can law enforcement do this, a regular ass citizen can do this. They're trying to give white men all the power and justify whether you should be an American citizen or not. This is what they're doing. Go look it up. If you don't trust my words, go ahead and look it up. That's what they did. Now, the 14th Amendment, it deals with the fact of when it says, when they were talking about the government and the state. Because the government can have one determination, but it also says that the state could no longer legally deny African or black people at that time their rights. And that's what led the foundation for us to fight for civil rights. Brown versus Board of Education and other equal protections under the law, which, they went after, of course, affirmative action for schools. But they're trying to they're trying to get rid of affirmative action, period. They're calling it DEI. See, they got the world screaming that too. Look at the tiers in which they were doing it. They used to allow Latin men, they still do, I'm sure, to some, especially Venezuelan, they're light skinned. They used to be able to put on the census that they're white to bolster white people's numbers. They had no problem with that. They wouldn't do it for dark people, definitely wouldn't do it for black people. So they allowed that. Now they're taking that away. They allowed by going through the 14th Amendment or 13th Amendment for black people to be free, 14th Amendment for them to be actual citizens and not, 3/5 of a human being. And then you're going to go, well, that's the 14th Amendment. Then the 15th Amendment for allowing for us to vote. They're coming for all that. But first, they got to do everything to discredit us as human beings again, as citizens. And they're tearing away every little fiber that gives us that freedom. But they're using these Latin people to be able to get rid of that right. So therefore, if that's gone, think about it. They would not, they wouldn't be able to get enough white people, Latin people, and Asian people to hate on black people to just say, we just want black people to be slaves again. Who want to do that? Majority of America be like, what? That's terrible. What are you talking about? Nope, Ixnay on that. They knew that that would be something that nobody would, the majority of people would not want to do. Racist, hell yeah. But nobody else, because it would prove the argument that they're just as bad as their ancestors. So now, if you're doing it to something that even you can get black and Latin and Asian people to dislike, then the majority of Americans, not the majority, but a big swath of America has an issue with them. But we'll take their rights away and therefore end up taking black people's rights away, taking other Latin people's rights away. We're already taking women's rights away. We just want all the power. If you don't believe me in this situation, what did they do to the Asian people by utilizing black people again with affirmative action in colleges? They first, the Jewish guy who's white, backed by millions upon millions of dollars for years, has been trying to get affirmative action canceled. He has been on a mission, spending millions of dollars year after year. He tried it with a young white girl. They looked at the white girl basically and was like, you tell me a white girl is more as privileged as she is, and a black person, you think, come on, this doesn't make any sense. She's privileged, bro, in this country. They lost that case. He kept trying, couldn't find a lot of people to sue against. He was trying his best. Went after other people that were black. Then he got an Asian kid who thought that, I was just smarter than the black kid. Mind you, ladies and gentlemen, I went to college. I don't know if you did. I'm pretty sure many of you did. You can't find my test scores. Hell, it's hard for me to get my own test scores. To be able to get my information from college, I have to go give my, because I had to do it many, many, many years ago. I had to go where I went to school at. I couldn't just get it online, nothing like that. No, I had to literally fly to my state where I went to school at. I told them on the line what I wanted to do. I had to come and sign stuff, make sure it's me, to be able to get my transcripts. And only I can get them. I'm pretty sure executives there and work there can get them and all stuff like that, but only I can get them. So I'm saying to the Asian kid that's sitting here complaining that he didn't get into college and too many black people got in, even though he wasn't pissed off at the legacy kids that were getting in without even having to take the test. He was mad at black kids getting the opportunity because somehow he thought affirmative action, which helped Asian people too, and Latin people and white women get in as well. He just was against the black people. So you knew he had an issue with black folks. And this white rich dude, racist dude, was doing his best to find somebody who disliked him as much as we did. And this Asian kid trying to be white centric. Oh, Whitey's trying to help me and he knows exactly what I'm going through. I understand you hurt, you didn't get into whatever it was, Harvard, but it had nothing to do with black people. But he didn't want to hear that. His own people protested and said, hey man, chill out. But he had a group of people of his own fighting with it. This man went to trial. He said the winning solution is to have a minority against a minority and a more favored minority against the most hated minority. That's a wonderful recipe for winning and for black people losing. But see, once again, What did black people say to them while they were running through this whole process? It's amazing to me. I don't know what it is. You know, to be honest, I don't know what it is. Maybe because black people, we have had to overthink everything in our lives, that we think like 400 miles ahead of every other culture when it comes to white supremacy in this country. When it comes to white supremacy, we're geniuses, okay? Don't ever question a black woman or black man when it comes to white supremacy. We know that shit inside and out about the effects of it on people of color. We have always got to educate every race. You're fucking up. You're fucking up. Even white women, you're fucking up. You are fucking up. And they don't listen. They keep on trying to get so close to this white entity that thinks it's supreme. And we're like, that engine is going to eat you. Realize what they're saying and what they're doing. Quit getting enamored by how they're treating you all nice and good and giving you money or whatever. Look behind the scenes of what they're trying to do. They told this young Asian man what was going on. He was in one kind of committee and they was trying to explain to him, how do you know this kid wasn't great enough to get into college? How do you know he didn't have a better grade than you? How do you know that? Right? And he was just like, his stereotype of what he thought black people were and what he thought his tiger mom and dad was like better for some reason. Just insanely racist while saying he's not. So what happened in that situation? Black people were right. I said it, I promise you, I probably did it on video. I promise you, I literally said, these people who are going up against black people who helped them get into college. I was like, they don't understand the history of Harvard and all that. It was a long time before any race other than white people could get into Harvard. People of color got in through extraordinary events. They had to be a genius upon genius, in which white people saw and say, wait a minute, we can make some money off that fool. And they just sat there and brought that one. But the average population, no, we're no black, we're no Latin, we're no Indian, we're no Asian. It was only white folks. Then black people fought in the streets. Black people died in the streets. Black people organized and got shit done. And we passed laws that said that nobody should be treated any different. We're all equal under the law. The civil rights, we got affirmative action. We got all these other programs put into place. And voila! Other cultures were allowed into the schools and couldn't be discriminated against. And the thing that pisses off black people is that they bring themselves into this country and try and step on black people and then go to white people that go to college and think they earned that right just because they're smart. White supremacy don't give a fuck if you're a genius. They're going to put their own in front of you. And that's what we fought for. And we won it. And these cultures that weren't in the fight are doing everything they can to dismantle the thing that gave them the opportunity to be at these schools. So what happened after this Asian kid and his hooking up with the Mr. His Boatwright or whatever his name is? What happened? The next year, the same amount of black people, percentage-wise, got into that school. The Asian percentage went down. Ask yourself, why is that? Ask yourself, I told these people, I said, I wish I could speak to that Asian kid. We told you this. Why is that? Because one, you thought you were smarter than black people. I want you to understand something. If a black person has made it into the process of getting into Harvard, you best believe that's a bright child. That child is fucking extraordinary. That is not your average black kid. Okay? And to think that your numbers were higher than them, all you did was piss black people off who were smart to be even more smart. You just put your foot right in their face and said, okay, and they kicked it up a notch. You went on cruise control, thinking that you won, so you're going to win anyway because you're smart. And your numbers went down. And guess what? Black people didn't go up. We stayed the same. What happened? More legacy kids got in. They kicked you to the curb and put white people in your place, and you fought to destroy the system that had you at the high percentage that you were in. They don't care about you being that smart. Hell, they're trying to get rid of education, right? So you got caught up in the okie doke. We told you. But again, they think we're saying this stuff to spite them. Black people have never talked about equal rights and civil rights to spite not one soul. We've done it to help people. And when you tell people, don't do that, they think you're doing it in spite. And I'm like, the only spiteful individuals or culture in this equation of supremacy and equality are the white supremacists that you're trying to hug up on. They're going to bite you, so quit trying to get close to them. But nope, they do it every time. So when I tell you right now, I'm speaking to you from wisdom, 54 years on this dang planet, seeing it over and over again, being able to project white supremacy because they're not supreme, they're mediocre at best. What they're trying to do, they're trying to get black people and people of color, gay people, and others, trans, white women. They're trying to take your rights away. They're trying to make you subservient to white, mediocre men so that they can fulfill this fantasy that they are supreme or somehow the supreme being. All in the name of Jesus, whom they purposely, like whitewashed and turned him into a white man, and he's brown, if you believe in him. So all of that is on a fake foundation of supremacy when they always feel mediocre. Think about it. Why don't we, average people, especially average, black people as well, why don't we always be thinking about supremacy? Because we don't think about anybody being better or worse. We just think ourselves being good. But normally, just because you're that type of person, you're better than them. Because you're striving to be something. They think they were born already something. Just because the color of their skin, this country has lied to them. You got to tell them, dude, there's no such thing as white. It's something they made up. And you're all caught up into something that's made up. And if you don't get caught up in that, you got to think about it. White privilege is the strongest cruise control. It's like, I don't got to do nothing. And while all these people over here doing something, you're pissed off now that black women are the most educated when white people had all the privileges. How'd that happen? Because working hard, stick-to-itiveness pays off. Cruise control, resting on whiteness, doesn't, unless you do some evil shit to do it. Unalive people, colonize, rape people, beat people, steal from people, cheat on people. That's the only way white supremacy calls itself supreme, by cheating. That lets you know you're not the smartest room or the smartest light bulb. Because you wouldn't have to cheat. You would just be supreme without having to do all that trash, right? So their fear of being mediocre, recognizing that they're mediocre, is the reason why they get into this ideology, and they're constantly working to save something that nobody's trying to take. They're delusional, is what I'm saying. But that delusion, we got to fight. That delusion, we got to fight. We can't just let it be delusional. The reason why Donald Trump and all these people are in office is because we were on cruise control when batshit people started gaining control. We had no strategy. We just had in our minds, ain't nobody paying attention to the crazy people. Then next thing you know, what? They elected a crazy person. What the fuck? Now we got to come together after we don't let that happen. And we can do it. We can do it. We can outsmart them. But we have to have a controlled effort to do so. So the 14th Amendment is what they're attacking. They're going after the Latin people, the immigrant people, Arab people as immigrants. But in all honesty, they're going after freedom of black people in this country. And if they touch us, they touch you all. but they're going through a back way. They know the history of black folks. They couldn't just come out and say, we're racist and we're going to take black people out. They're constantly telling everybody they're not racist. They know the racism thing is a stigma they don't want to admit. They'll literally say the N-word, like, I'm not racist. Because they don't want that stigma, because that racist stigma destroys lives. So they gaslight you. What they're doing to the other cultures, the IPOCs, you don't see as racism. You see as classism. You see as like survival. But it's all lathered in racism. Don't believe me? They brought in what? A bunch of white immigrants from Africa, South Africa, saying that they're, refugees. They don't fit the definition of refugees. The government's not after them. They're not in a particular war that's trying to unalive them. Crime is in that state, in that country rather, just like any other country. It's not crime free. They got a murder rate just like we have one. It ain't no different than them. Their murder rates is whatever it is every year. It may go up, it may go down. But they're just not targeting farmers. They're targeting whatever it is. If they need money, they go after that person. Whatever they're trying to do, just random crimes. And they end up putting these white people in front of Afghans, right? Who literally fought and died and used their brain cells to help us win a war, or at least keep our men, women, and children safe. And they reneged on the promise to them, while at the same time giving some racist rich. I want you to understand something. These people they brought over were rich people. You got to go look up the research of what South African farmers were or are. They're the richest in that country. So they brought over the richest people into this country. Dressed bummy, I might tell you. That shit was on purpose. The way they dressed, average, bummy, yeah, that's on purpose. They ain't dressed like that in South Africa. The richest farmers they brought here, talking about there was nothing wrong with them. They want to come here and fill this place up with more white people. Rich, wealthy white people. And they're going to put them in red states so that what? They can do exactly what they always accuse Democrats of doing. They want these immigrants to come here from over the border so they can vote Democrat. Overwhelmingly, these people coming over the border, they vote Democrat. Why is that? It's not 100% true, but it's partially true. But why is that? Because the Democrats are the ones that are saying, come to the country, but just come legally, and they have no problem with that. It's the Republicans that are like, we don't want your brown asses over here. Come on, go somewhere else. And they're always giving them hell. They're always treating them like shit. They're always throwing them in cages and treating them the absolute worst. Why would you think they want to vote for somebody who literally harms them on purpose when they can literally not have to and get a kick out of doing it? That's why they don't vote for you as much. But now they're trying to bring in immigrants that's going to love them because what? They're going to give these people tax cuts, which is our money, tax breaks and shit like that. It's going to be our money, subsidies for properties. The exact same thing Martin Luther King talked about back in the day when he said they will undergird their European immigrants with millions and millions of acres of land. Not only that, give them land grant colleges. They built land grant colleges. Not only that, they gave them subsidies in which if they had the farm for over 5 years, they could have it for free. Gave them wealth. All at the same time telling the black man to lift himself up by his own bootstraps. Well, you brought in immigrants. We don't been here hundreds of years. You brought in new immigrants. Bypass them as citizens, because you got to understand something. You couldn't come from another country and own property in this country without being a citizen. These people bypassed immigration at that time, came here and immediately became citizens in order for them to be given property. or at least in that process of becoming a citizen, because those 5 years were to wait to become a citizen. Because when you come here as a citizen, our laws have been, as a citizen, as an immigrant, you have to work in this country for a year before you can apply for the citizenship. Then you have to wait 5 years in order to become a naturalized citizen. These people were kicked in front of those people who've waited that year, who've waited, the Afghan people, 3-4 years to be able to vet them. And then there's a 5-year wait on top of that. They're bypassing that. Weren't they pissed off at these cities in which they had these immigrants coming in New York and things of that nature? Now they're bringing white ones and throwing them into areas. And I guarantee you, they're going to bypass that 1 year of having to work anywhere here in America. They're going to bypass that 5 years that they have to do before they become a citizen. They're going to have these people as citizens to be able to vote in the next election. I guarantee you, they will be voting in the next election, which they shouldn't. They shouldn't be able to vote for another 5, almost 6 years. If you don't see the juxtaposition of not giving Latin people and people of color their rights, and Afghan people who fought and died for our country, patriots for us, against their own country they was raised in, if you send them back to their country, oh, they're going to unalive them. Because why? Because they're the reason why they turncoat. They can't go back to their country. This is almost immediate death. And this administration has no loyalty to those people who helped us. But they have loyalty to white people. And mind this, they have not been vetted. We don't know if those people commit crimes. We don't know what they do for a living. We don't know if they were spies in their own country or they're spies that come to our country. They haven't been vetted whatsoever. They should not be here until they've been vetted for at least a year or two. Still kick past that. If you don't see this is a white supremacy thing, you got your eyes and ears closed on purpose. Because those brown people, those Afghan people, those are, especially the Afghan people, they deserve to kick in front of everybody. Because they took on, bullets, bombs, and everything else, and had to be a traitor to their own country to save American lives. They earned it. If anybody should come to this country and automatically be a citizen, it should be people like that. But they waited for years and just got reneged on. I can't wait till this president's out of office. Lord, please. I don't care. Come hook, crook. You got to take them with you, Jesus. Go take them. Take them with you. If you go to heaven, I don't know if you're going to be going to heaven, but hey, I would not have a problem with you just taking them. So we look at the 15th Amendment is for, another thing that they're going to end up mentioning, and that's voting. And women voting is another one they're going to go after. So keep in mind what Donald Trump is trying to do. And speaking of Trump, there's another thing that happened today. You may have seen my video. I had an epiphany today. And that epiphany was I finally read Trump. I finally got a read on him. And what kicked it off was him and his statements about this jet that's $400 million, that's 13 years old. It's a hand-me-down. And he's excited like it's a brand new toy. Then I realized something. I don't know how many people in here have had wealthy friends or co-workers or worked for a small business where the person who owned it was really wealthy, so you kind of hung out with them and got to know like them or their family. Well, I did. And multiple times here in LA, working in different industries and sometimes small businesses. And there was a family that I went to, and I'm gonna give you the exact example. As a family that I met through a company that I was working for. And this person I was working for, he was rich. His family, actually from South Africa, but they were into arms, weapons. And it wasn't them. They were working people. They were people trying to, sell into people. It's the people buying that are the really wealthy. It's not the ones selling. It's the buying people, even though the ones selling are rich. So it wasn't the guy that I was working for. He invited me to this party at this mansion. Now this mansion was huge, movie theater in it, all that stuff. Had it was over $15,000 per month to lease, and just insane. So he was wanting to get investors for his business. So the entire place was filled with models and people he had hired to come in. They had like Victoria's Secret models in there. It was crazy, right? And I went up to the rooftop. I had a balcony in the back. They had invited a few people to come up there, and seeing as how I was working for the person who owned it and stuff like that, at least was leasing it, I had free reign of the place. So I go up to the top, and it's like the third floor or so, and I'm outside hanging out on the balcony. These two guys who I find out later to be Persian, didn't know who they were. And so I'm up there, and they're smoking cigars. I don't smoke, so I'm up there just drinking a little bit. And these two guys are just calm and talking and stuff like that. They weren't saying about anything. They were really nice and just hanging out. He said, "You having a good time?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "This is a nice place," and anything like that. He said, "Yeah, it is really nice." And he just started talking about his father. I said, "Oh," I said, "Your father?" I said, "He owns the place?" And he's like, "Yeah. My grandfather actually owned the place, but my father was gifted it, but it's ours now." And I said, wow." And then he said, "Yeah, it's cool. It's like that." Wasn't enamored by it at all. He was just like, it is what it is. And I wasn't enamored about it either. I was just saying it's a nice spot. And then I said, and I just had questions. I'm like, "So your parents came over, what did your grandparents do?" "Oh, we were just, we was Persian. My granddad worked for this company, whatever. And we just came over here." He said everything here was cheap at the time. He said we had a little money, and they bought this mansion that we were in for $80,000 when his grandfather came. Shit's worth like 15 million or something craziness, right? And I said, "Wow, that's crazy." I said, "Your parents must have been rich over there." He said, "Yeah, we were okay. We weren't necessarily rich, but we were okay." And he's like, "But what we did," and I ain't gonna tell what street it is, but he told me how his grandfather not necessarily made his money over there, but how he got his money over here. Because if you had to do it, you had to get your money changed over here, and they take so much of it, so they would put it in certain things. So his grandfather used to sell Persian rugs. He's Persian, so he sell Persian rugs to these stars out here for these huge ones for an extravagant amount of money. They would be imported to his warehouse here, and then they take out the things they put inside said rug, and then sold the rug. So they were bringing in things that were worth a lot of money that made them wealthy. They didn't make their stuff, I ain't gonna say illegally, it was just kind of shady. All right. They bought up the entire block of homes. All right. And he was just telling this story. But when he talks about it, he doesn't talk about it like he was enamored. He's like he was happy for his grandfather. But the wealth, their wealth, they didn't even want to talk about that. They ain't saying nothing about that. They just said, "We got down house. You looking for a house?" It's like, no, I ain't looking for a house. Crazy hell, I ain't looking for a house. But we just had a good time. I went downstairs, hung out with a bunch of other people. I'm hanging out with this one white kid. He's got red hair, but he's got it in cornrows, right? And he's acting, a little urban. And so, black people, we know that we do like snapping in certain areas where I grew up in. We called it joning and stuff like that. Like your mama this, your mama that. So we doing these your mama jokes, and we're going back and forth, back and forth. So my boss comes by, the dude that I'm working for. I'm general salesman at the spot. He comes by, he sees me and this guy going at it, and I'm getting him. And he's trying to get back. He's having fun, but I'm getting him, giving it to him. And he was laughing and shit like that. We having a good time. My boss comes by and sees him laughing and everything like that, me talking all this trash. And then he gets mad at me, says all this like, "Dude, go get something to drink or whatever, blah, blah." I'm like, "You don't boss me around, dude. What's up with that?" And so I'm like, I guess he wanted to talk to the dude. So I walk away. As I'm walking away, the dude comes walking with me. "I'll go with you." And my man was pissed. So this guy was walking around, we sitting there chatting, have a good old time, right? Never did I once talk to him about money. Never did I once talk about anything that had to deal with cash. House, no cars, no nothing. He was one of the richest people in the room. Worth well over, he was 25, 26. I was probably like 32 or something like at the time. He was worth an estimated $400 million. Never talked about money. Never mentioned it. People always ask him for money. I didn't ask him for anything. He was cool, like he was a homie. This helped me understand something when I started listening to Trump. This is the read I have on Trump. Trump was the poorest rich kid in his community. You got to look at it. The poorest person is always looking up to the richest person, is always enamored by wealth and things of that nature. And you start to think, Donald Trump was born wealthy. Father had money. But Donald Trump's dad was working wealthy. He was not owed money. His grandfather had money, but he made his money. His grandfather made money in gold. His father made money in real estate. So he had his grandfather gave his dad money too. So they both were kind of like giving something. But his dad made his name in real estate. Donald Trump didn't have anything. He made his name with his dad's real estate. Okay. Donald Trump, he wasn't the most handsomest. He damn sure wasn't the smartest. You can hear his niece, Mary Trump, talk about how Donald Trump, his parents, wanted Fred Trump to be like her dad, to be like the person that they pass it off to, because her dad was smart. He's a pilot and things of that nature. They didn't want Donald Trump, none whatsoever, to be leading anything. But the brother didn't want to do it. So Trump was the last resort. They had to make this kid look smart. So they sent him off to schools, got him into business schools, spent all this money. But Donald Trump had people taking his test. He was never smart. His own professor at his Wharton Business College, which he touts all the time, that person said he was the dumbest MF student I've ever had. And he always used that MF, or goddamn, one of the two he said. He always used a cuss word in it. So you know that was visceral. He meant that shit every time he said it with a cuss word. So what we have seen is Donald Trump wasn't the smartest. He wasn't the first chosen. We know he's a bully, so more than likely he got bullied as a kid, probably because he wasn't smart. If you look at him, you can tell he did a lot of plastic surgery. I wouldn't put it past Donald Trump having Down syndrome or some sort of it. Look at his eyes. They are slanted, but you can tell there was surgery done. Now, that's my guess. I'm not 100% sure on that. Donald Trump is slow. Okay? Now, we're going to get to the fact that his dad was working rich, not extraordinarily rich. He was sent to schools with the extraordinarily rich people. That's why Donald Trump always looks up to wealth. That's why Donald Trump is enamored by gold and things of this nature. And that's why Donald Trump on this trip, when that man said he's going to give him a $400 million gift, I'd be stupid not to get that. I'd be stupid not. What rich person would want to be acting like a simp? I have never met one that is rich and had money that literally was like given a gift. They're like, nah, I can afford my own plane, bro. I don't need that. That's how rich people would act. They're not going to take no gift from somebody, especially a 13-year-old gift. That's a hand-me-down. Who is rich and taking hand-me-downs from people? I don't care if it's $400 million. It's a hand-me-down. It's something that somebody had on. If you were born rich and of the rich and really was living that life, you would look at that and say, I want one like, go ahead and build that for me, but I want mine gold and white on the outside. 5 years? Okay, expedite that. I'll put another $200 million on it. Okay, 2.5 years? All right, straight. That's what a rich person would act like. Donald Trump, oh, wow, look at that. Every time we pull up, we're pulling up in the most secure plane on the fucking planet. Air Force One can take a nuclear hit and continue flying. You think that $400 million plane can take a nuclear hit? No, the technology in Air Force One is the top notch. No other country has it. But this fool doesn't see the wealth in the technology and the build and the fact that he is the number one person in the world, the country, the strongest country, the richest country in the world. Our army is unmatched. And this man is sitting here talking about people who have gold palaces and like, oh my God, look at that. That's rich. That's rich. Oh my God, it's so good. He creaming. And you're sitting there like, dude, you rich, right? You rich? I ain't even rich, and I don't go, oh, gaga over that shit. I'm like, you don't have the rich gene. You got a poor gene, bro. A poor, jealous gene. Because you're enamored by wealth while saying you're wealthy. I mean, something's showing. Your poorness is showing. It's very uncouth for you to be sitting here, got your nose up in the air because somebody rich you're around. I'm like, that's groupie status. How you the number one person walking around this earth as everybody's fearful of, and you walking around sniffing everybody's ass trying to figure out, oh, he gave me a plane. Oh my God, that's great. And then this person gave me 600 billion. And you're walking around acting like a simp. What's the difference between you and a $5 hoe? Nothing. You are the exact same. Gimme, gimme, gimme. The only thing that's really different, truthfully, is that $5 person is willing to work for their $5. You want to get it for free. And act like you don't owe nothing back for that. Ain't nothing for free. Hand-me-downs, y'all. This rich billionaire has no problem taking hand-me-downs. I grew up having to take hand-me-downs. If I'm rich, I ain't taking nobody's hand-me-down plane. I'm building my own. Every time money is offered, his nose is up in the air. That tells me something. As a person, as a leader of another country, I got his number. He's too easily fooled. He's too easily to get on my side. I want these sanctions removed. I offer him a $400 million plane. And get this, y'all. This ain't the first time they offered that plane up. They offered that plane to other leaders and all of them said no. Donald Trump was the fool that said yes. And the thing that kills me is that these MAGA minions think Donald Trump is strong. He's such a strong leader. Really? Really? I don't put Donald Trump going behind the scenes and giving somebody a fellatio for that plane. I don't put it past him. I do not. Because that's what they think. He'll do whatever I want him to do as long as I give him some. It's got to be extraordinary. It's got to be extravagant. Go look and see which plane we don't use no more. Yeah, the one that we unalived that one person and cut him up. Yeah, that one. Yep. Yeah, the one we had to. Oh yeah, the black light gonna be a trip up in this one. Yeah, give him that one. That's our trashy one. And Donald Trump is all, oh my God, I get this great. And they're like, yeah, that's our trash. And this dude is sitting here getting excited about our trash. And he don't see it that way. Pitiful. Just pitiful. Here's the thing that, let's see if I got it. I want you guys to see. If I didn't get it yet, I'm going to get it. But, I thought I had it. Did I put it in here? Donald Trump is insane. Yeah, this is it right here. You're about to see Donald Trump juxtapose what he should be. What he should be. He's trashy. But the person I got coming up next, you're going to see both of them juxtapose. Trashy and classy. Doesn't even come close. Trump doesn't. Let's get it.
Has Qatar asked for anything in exchange for that $400 million luxury jumbo jet? And how can the American people be so sure that they will not in the future?
I could be a stupid person and say, oh, no, we don't want a free plane. We give free things out. We'll take one, too. So I think it's a great gesture from Qatar. I appreciate it very much. I would never be one to turn down that kind of an offer. I mean, I could be a stupid person and say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane. But I thought it was a great gesture.
I noticed a large travel case on the mantelpiece. I unsnapped the latches and lifted the top. On one side there was a large desert scene on a marble base, featuring miniature gold figurines, as well as a glass clock powered by changes in temperature. On the other side, set in a velvet case, was a necklace half the length of a bicycle chain, encrusted with what appeared to be hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of rubies and diamonds, along with a matching ring and earrings. I looked up at Ben and Dennis. "A little something for the missus," Dennis said. He explained that others in the delegation had found cases with expensive watches waiting for them in their rooms. Apparently nobody told the Saudis about our prohibition on gifts. I wondered how many times gifts like this had been discreetly left for other leaders during official visits to the kingdom. Leaders whose countries didn't have rules against taking gifts, or at least not ones that were enforced.
So there was trashy, then classy. You see how Donald Trump, "I'll take a gift, give me one." If you were really rich, bro, you would have some kind of like, why would I take that? You know what I mean? I don't need to be bought, man. No, it's all good. Obama is not that wealthy. He's got money, but he's not that wealthy for a $400 plane to buy one. He's not that wealthy probably even buy that gift of all those diamonds they sent at that particular time in his life. But he had the morality to say, and the wherewithal to say, it's a nice gesture. I'm not going to offend them and return it. What do you do with it? Whenever you get gifts from other people, most of the time these people take them, especially like the president. But they have to take them and give them over to the government. They can't take them as personal products. It goes into the government and into the archives of what the president received. The government owns it. The president doesn't. And the difference between what Donald Trump is doing, he's taking it as a personal gift and saying that he's going to use it as the plane because the other one doesn't happen. It's not going to get done fast enough. It's got a few more years on it than the next Air Force One. He's going to try and make this Air Force One. Now, this Air Force One, this other vehicle, the $400 million, if he even tried to make it into it, it would be done way after the one that's already being built to replace the one he's on. It will cost $1 billion estimated to suit that new one up, to swipe it down and make sure it doesn't have any bugs or weapons or bombs or whatever on it, right? Nothing's wrong with the technology, all that. It's almost like they got to build it all over again. Think about it. If you got to take it apart, you got to put it back together. And if you're putting it back together, the plane in which they're building is already put together, designed. It's just being put together. So you're going to tear this thing down and build it back up. But you got to equip it with the things that you're equipping the other one with. It makes no sense. It is all about being enamored. Now, he could take that $400 million plane and put it into his library or whatever, but he said he wants to use it. But he wouldn't even be able to put it in his library. It has to go to the government. The government would own it and put it on display somewhere, not for him. And he talks about Reagan. Well, Reagan has one. Reagan, they decommissioned the plane and brought on a new one. And then, as a gesture, put it into his particular library. That's it. So if he wanted this one right here, this 35-year one, if he was still in office when it was done, he can have this last one right here that's getting rebuilt. He can have that one put into his museum. But instead, he want to get that $400 million one because he is a groupie. We got a groupie president. It's insane. Little child that's 78 years old. This man, think about this, ladies and gentlemen. He has had more wealth in his life than me and most of you guys combined. I don't know everybody's status in here, so I'm going to say most of you guys' status in this country. Been able to get anything he wanted whenever he wanted it, but he's always wanted more than what he can actually afford. It's crazy how this man, again, There is a video, I did not get it. I wish I got it. You can go check it out somewhere. Where Barbara Walters lights into Trump, man. I might have to post that somewhere, but she lights into Trump in an interview back in the day when he was young and she was young, much younger. She asked him about his building and he was going to bankruptcy and about his banks. And he said, well, he was telling her because Donald Trump was gassing everybody up, talking about his building's doing great. And she said, no, it's not. He's like, well, where'd you get this information? You're talking to you're talking to all these people and different things like that. That he was trying to push it off on people, like saying other people are saying, but you're talking to people. You're not talking to the banks. I'm doing really well. In the midst of him trying to gaslight, this is back in the day now. Got to be 80s, maybe early 90s. She goes, no, I didn't speak to people, Trump. I went straight to your banks. And your bank saying that you're close to basically bankruptcy. So and she got into it. She had the only saving like grace you have. I guess she was in one of his buildings or something, or near one of his buildings. The only grace you have, she's pointing out the window, is to sell that property. She points out the window. To sell that property is the only saving grace you got. You're gonna go bankrupt. I was like, damn. I wish I'd seen this back in the day. She lit into it, man. I was like, why haven't this video been out all this time? But she really lit into him. You got to go find that video. If I can find it, I ain't gonna find it now, but you got to go find that video. It is hilarious. I was like, I didn't get a chance to get it to show it to y'all, but it was hilarious. But I wanted to actually speak on some stuff. I wrote another speech for you, but this one's about how I asked a question and I ended up writing something over it. But one of the questions that I was asking was, and I pretty much said earlier on, is Americans who want a better America. And we're just tired of the divisiveness and just like, you know what? Let's just get past this. We're going to always have that minority that's going to be like a pain in our ass. But if we continue to work hard and to stop giving them any kind of ammunition to be able to get against anything and, just take control of the situation. Because the majority of us should be in a situation where we make the decisions. These people are sitting here making decisions that are hateful, disrespectful. But I realized, like I said earlier, these people wake up every day trying to destroy happiness and joy and unity of the people every day. We don't have that energy. We need to have that energy for the opposite side, fighting for goodness, fighting for love, fighting for positivity, fighting for telling the freaking truth, being straightforward, fighting to have our families have a nice life, fighting to have opportunities just because we're good at the situation, regardless of what we're black, white, Latin, Asian, or whatever it may be, that we're good at it. And that when we put our best foot forward, there isn't an entity or a source that's constantly trying to push us back 3 feet. And the way I believe to do that is really kind of unite on some issues and then realize that wherever you're living at, we can always try and work and help each other out. So I wrote something that was in the spirit of that, and hopefully it inspires some people. After that, I'm gonna let everybody go. But this speech is called "We Are the Future They Fear and the Hope They Forgot." My brothers, my sisters, my family of every shade, of every soul stitched into this nation's fabric, whether that fabric has been frayed, torn, or beautifully worn. I speak to you today not from a place of bitterness, but from a furnace of truth, love, and righteous purpose. Because I need you to hear me with your heart, not just your ears. I need you to feel this in your soul, not just your politics. And I need you to know that I am a black man. Yes, unapologetically black. But I speak to you as your brother. I was raised by a people who survived the unspeakable and still found a way to laugh, love, sing, and build. I descend from kings and queens, from field hands and freedom fighters, from those who had their tongues cut out for daring to speak truth. And I promise you, I will never be silent. But hear me when I say this. My liberation will never come at your expense, because your freedom and mine are not in competition. They are braided together like roots beneath the same tree. Now, I know some folks like to pretend they don't see color, but I do. I see it, and I celebrate it. Because what kind of love would it be if I didn't acknowledge the beauty of your shade and the story it carries? We don't build unity by ignoring difference. We build it by respecting difference, by saying, I see you, I hear you, and I will fight for you the way I hope you'll fight for me. That's real unity. But here's what we must also confront. There are forces in this country, old, dusty forces, that are terrified of that kind of unity. They made it their mission to keep us divided, distracted, and defeated. They keep whispering lies about immigrants, about black people, about LGBTQIA plus folks, about poor people, about the other, whatever mask that word wears today. Why? Because they know that because they know what we could do together. They know that if we ever stop fighting for each other. Oh, sorry, I take it back. They know that if we ever stop fighting each other and started building with each other, their days of unchecked power would be numbered. So they invest billions in fear of skin, fear of difference, fear of losing. But I came to tell you, we are not afraid. We are not here to dominate. We are here to dismantle domination. We are not here to hate. We are here to heal. We are not here to repeat the past. We are here to reclaim the future. Let me be clear. I do not carry hate for anyone, not even those who hate me. I don't have the time. I don't have the luxury, because I am too busy loving people who are worth loving. And believe me, there are millions of you out there, of color, of every color, every creed. Good people may not look like me, but love like me. And to you I say, let's stop reacting to their fear and start acting from our vision. Let's stop waiting for permission and start building our own platforms, our own power, our own peace. We don't need to burn it all down. We need to build something they never imagined. A nation rooted in truth, powered by love, and protected by justice. So let this be our mission, to see color and never judge it, to see pain and never ignore it, to see truth and never betray it. Let this be the generation that refused to be manipulated. Let this be the moment that made we the people finally mean all the people. Let this be the family reunion that never ends, because we've got work to do, dreams to build, and lies to tear down. And if they fear what we're becoming, let them. Because we are becoming the America they pretend we already were. And together, we're not just changing the system, we're becoming the new standard. Now let's get to work side by side, shoulder to shoulder, heart to heart. As I always say, if you've been around me enough, it's a we thing, not a me thing. And the future is ours, not theirs. All right. Hopefully, I've inspired some people to want to change, to see that we're more alike than different, and to finally just get over this divisive ideology. I'm sick of arguing with people. And you know you got to do it to get your point across often. And you don't want to just be in an echo chamber and just hear your voice. But I don't have a problem with people with opinions about facts. I just have people who make up lies to make up their opinion. That's what I have a problem with. We can agree to disagree on which team is better because they're both good. You just see that you like it for some reason. But if it's 2 + 2, we can't agree on if it's a 4 or a 5. Then it's a problem because it's 4. We can't just like agree to disagree. It's a fact. So I want to thank you guys showing up and showing out. I want to thank anyone who gave me gifts. I got to look at it and see who donated tonight. Welcome to the Truth Bomber. Welcome, Swift Returns. I appreciate you. Welcome. Becoming a member, Truth Bomber. I'm still working on everything, ladies and gentlemen. Give me some time as I continue to build off the platform and add stuff to it. I've actually gotten through the process of how I'm going to change everything around, and I've gotten that format up. Discord, I started that. Is not finished yet. I'm not doing a lot to it at the beginning. I just got to get things kind of, get the dust cleared, and then I'll let you guys know, the members. I'll give you the link, and then we can start doing that. Trying to give you everything else. That's pretty much it, I think, for now. But I'm gonna keep on, pushing forward, getting the lives together so that we can meet each other to Zoom, building that out. That's gonna take me a little while to do. Now, it's probably gonna take me a good week or two. Not because it's hard to do, just a lot of my time. My time is all over the place. As you can see, I have to shift my hours when I start here. I was going to be at 5. Now it's more like 5:30. So once I get all these things and some things off my schedule, it'll be a more consistent time frame when I come on. But I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Hopefully, everything I say, please go double check, triple check, because again, iron sharpens iron. This is a place of facts. If you don't hold facts in your heart and spirit, then there's no reason this room should be even attracting you. If you're upset with facts, then either go research it and come back and inform us of something we don't know, or, just go, because we're trying to build something that, we're dealing with good people of all races, colors, and creeds, just sick and tired of being sick and tired over divisive crap. I love the fact of everybody's culture being different. I love the fact that we can appreciate, like I said, I see color. You do too. It's about appreciating color, not trying to belittle one, not trying to belittle someone's culture. It's about appreciating it. You know what I'm saying? If you want to eat Italian food from an Italian mom, if you want to eat, African food from, an African spot, or even go to a village in Africa, you've got to be able to see it and appreciate it, not to ignore it. We're different, but we're the same. We're human, but we bring different things to the table. The reason why we bring these different cultures together because it sharpens one another. And as we get to learn each other's strengths and then start to incorporate some of those into our own lives, we make each other better, period. The union of our different cultures has made us better, smarter, brighter, loving, happier in many ways. It's the division that destroys all that. I want people to be proud of themselves and their culture, but not use it as a cudgel against people, but to be able to say, hey, this is who I grew up with. And again, for people who claim themselves to be white, I want you to understand your ancestors and stuff like that. Different people have done it. We ain't talking about that. I ain't talking about that right there. I'm talking about step out of the label of whiteness and step into the label of you're Irish, you're European, right? Where you came from originally, Italian, right? That's what I want to know about. Whiteness is this divisive thing. You're not white, okay? You have more to you than just a color. And that's the part. Us keep going. The white stuff is all what comes up with the supremacy stuff. I want to know that you're Irish or European or German. That's the stuff. That's what's going to bring us together. Step away from what these people built to divide us and step toward the things that will unite us. That's the way I feel about it. Hopefully, some of you feel the same way. All right? All right. So, until next time. And, oh, wait. Before I go, I got to say thank you to all the members. I got to call y'all out. Let me get it. Say, Kristen Thompson, thank you for being here. Root Interplanet Janet, thank you for being here. Color is a social construct. It was made up. You are a heritage or culture, not a color. Thank you. That's why I said I want to know people. If we get away from that, I think we can get away from this divisive stuff and separate from that. Then we can, be able to get past it and move forward and live the life in which I think most of us want. We all just want an opportunity. And if we give an opportunity, all of us can grow. There's enough for all of us. It's just rich people and hateful people keep telling you there's not an abundance. If you are a person who believes in any higher being, do you really think that higher being made a mistake and didn't create enough for you to survive? Of course not. That mentality of there not being enough, that's rich people telling you that they want it all and there's not enough for you. We have enough money to end poverty. They don't want to do it. They got to have a divisive process. They got to say your poverty is because of that poor person. And you're not just rich because of that person. And you're not safe because of that black person or that person. They always got to pit somebody against one another because their wealth doesn't work right if we're not fighting. The world can be a much better place if we didn't have to fight with each other and unite to fight for one another. It's not less stuff in this world. There's more. And when we get that mentality that we ain't got to compete, just do what we do. And sports and stuff like that, you can compete, and in business you can compete, but I'm talking about to be who you are. You do not have to compete. Your gift is yours. Mine is mine. You'll never be brilliant at what I was meant to be brilliant at. Just like I'll never be brilliant at what your God or your creator created you to do. If you can sew up like a mean suit, I ain't gonna never touch you on that. My suit will come out with like 4 legs or some shit when I get mine, but it's just not gonna work because I didn't get that gift. And we start to realize that each one of us is here for each other, to be able to step into your passions, develop your purpose, then create a service to make your brothers and sisters better human beings. We purchase from you, your life becomes better. You start a business or you work for a business that provides a service to us, your life becomes better. That's what it's all about. And when we start getting that, we don't have these slave classes. We have a middle class and a wealthy class and probably an uber wealthy class. The poor class can come up. It can happen. It really can. I know we got to have workers, but nobody said it has to have workers that are poor. That's what we think because we think of this greedy capitalism. Get out of that mindset and we're going to make it a better place. See Kristen, I see Root Interplanet. Who else was here as a member? Swift Returns, what's up? everybody else who was in here. Let me see. I'm trying to give love to everybody who's a member. All right. Thank you to everybody else who showed up. I appreciate y'all. And we will see y'all tomorrow, which is Friday, at around 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. I'm trying to get that exact time to 5:30. I can get closer to that. 5 o'clock I can't do anymore. But 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. And until then, I'll see you when I see you. This thing is crazy.